Welcome in, Bills Mafia, and anyone else who's watching. All fan bases are welcome. You know what time it is. It is a him or Jim segment. I know I missed last week, but we're back, baby. We're back. The Bills take another dub over the Phins, and now we are going to see who my hymns are this week. There was quite a few of them, and again, I could always do more, but I like to try to keep it down a little bit. I'm going to give an honorary mention. I got to give one to Tua because even after a big L, he actually did give Bills Mafia some credit for when he had his concussion and mentioned how we donated a lot to his cause. So it takes a tough guy to go out there after you got smacked on live television, 3 in a row you lost, you letting your team down, and he goes up there and gives credit to the other team's fans, and it takes a lot. I'm not trying to sound sarcastic at all, but I got to give him credit. So he's an honorary. But now we're going to get into the real stuff. I'm going to say Bills Mafia real quick. Again, it's not the greatest thing to throw snowballs, but it was kind of funny, and nobody got hurt, so it makes it more funny. But that's we do what we got to do. That's our home field advantage of Bills Mafia. So, I mean, they're always getting a him for me. But starting at the top with the players, I give it to Dawson Knox. I mean, he was 6 for 98 with a touchdown, a huge touchdown when the snow started to fall and ended up tying the game for us after Josh's 2-point conversion. But, I mean, he had 2 really easy drops on one drive, so he could have had 8 catches for over 100 yards. But, I mean, we needed him to step up in the last recent weeks, and he has stepped up. 6 for 98. He led their team in receiving yards and catches, and he had that touchdown that ended up going to tie the game. Next is none other than Josh Allen, 25 for 40, 304 yards, 4 TDs. Also added 10 rushes for 77 yards, including that long 44-yard run that set everything up, and that 2-point conversion that for some reason they said it was no good, and they just like went right off the commercial. And I was like, damn, really? And then someone's like, hey, he might have got over it. And I said, oh, I didn't even think of that. But, I mean, Josh Allen really showed what a franchise elite quarterback, MVP quarterback can be, and he led his team when he needed to most. This guy, Shaq Lawson's the next one. I got to give it to Shaq Lawson because he's been solid all year. I mean, he's been quietly solid all year. People kind of probably just put him behind in the back burner, but this guy's been absolutely phenomenal. He had a sack and 2 tackles yesterday or 2 days ago, and that one sack was huge because it was on 3rd and 1. And, you thought they would run the ball, but Shaq Lawson got right into his face and got the sack, and it set him up for a field goal instead of getting the first down. But he's been pretty solid all season. He's great in the run. He got 3.5 sacks this year, and he's not even a key player. He's been coming off the bench and in a minimal role. But now that Von Miller's out, Shaq Lawson's been stepping up. Of course, Tyler Bass, a game winner. If you saw me and TD on the AFC East roundtable, we talked about the kicker situation. If it came down to it, whose kicker do you trust more? And obviously, we gave it to Tyler Bass because this guy can kick anything, the wind, the snow. He's just phenomenal. And as soon as I know it was 25 yards, but it could have been 45 yards. If we lined up with him, we definitely would have still won. And this is a 2-parter. So the O-line is a him in the sense of we had so many injuries. Mitch Morse went out. Van Roten had to switch over. Quisenberry had to come play guard. And then, Spencer Brown's always not the best player. But they came through when we needed the most. Usually you see when we need a key play, the offensive line crumbles. It gives up a sack and it gets us out of field goal range or gets us far away from the first down. But in this game, they may have had a rough game at times, but they came through in the end in the 4th quarter when we needed the most. And then we got the win. Trey White. I know Trey White got burned on that press man coverage because the problem is he didn't get his hands on Tyreek Hill. If he did, he wouldn't have got burned. But he got burned. But other than that, Trey White had 3 good pass breakups and a few tackles. And, he's still coming back, but he's looking real good. So I got to give it to Trey White. So for the Jim part, this is where I say it's a 2-parter. So the O-line is also on the Jim because every single time they run a hard count, they always jump. And this is something you learn at the youngest level of football. It's your count. Don't jump because you're the one that knows what it's going to be on. If Josh says, you got to know it's going to be on the 5th hut. So don't jump. They do it every single time, and it always brings us back. And then after that, always another false start or a holding. This O-line had continuous flags and shooting ourselves in the foot, especially on hard count. And then you should take Coach McDermott. Why are we still running hard counts when our offensive line false starts every single time? Like, it doesn't fool the defense, and we always lose yards on it. Stop doing it. But man, they get that gem for me because I'm so sick of seeing them get us some bad spots with stupid boneheaded penalties or holdings on big plays. And there was a couple times where there was 2 penalties in a row. Like, what the heck are you doing? It's so undisciplined. It really makes me frustrated. I gotta give another gem to McDermott and Leslie Frazier. And again, I love those guys. They do a great job, obviously. But you saw 2 weeks in a row, 2 teams gave you 2 different looks on how to minimize the Dolphins' offensive attack. And what do? We stayed in zone coverage for the most part, and we that's what they do best. Tua can tear apart zones because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are fast, and DBs in a zone probably have like 3 or 4 or 5 yards away from the player anyway. So when you mix that with speed, obviously they're going to get open and get catches. The middle of the field was wide open. Tremaine Edmonds wasn't the presence in the middle of the field that we need him to be, that he normally is, because they were tearing it up. Milano had a couple missed tackles and didn't look his best, but obviously he still did a lot of good things. But I mean, it was just, why do you keep doing this when you saw the Chargers had every starter in the secondary out, and they had third stringers, and they were locking them up, playing press man coverage, and we had the personnel to do it, and we just didn't really do it. But again, I love McDermott, I love Leslie Frazier, but that really frustrated me. I had a feeling it was coming too. Let's check the comments. Go Bills podcast. A ton of injuries on the O-line. We have to get healthy before playoffs, and that's a great segue because I'm going to mention before I get into my next gym, Ike Bacher should be back. Again, I don't know in the capacity that he'll play, but he is now back on an active roster, and we don't know the extent of Mitch Morris, how much time he will miss. But if Bates comes back this week, Bates could be center, and if Bacher is okay to go, he should be able to play guard. And he did a pretty decent job for us before he got injured last year. But yeah, a lot of injuries, and that's why I had partly the O-line and the him, because they came through when needed the most, even though they were banged up. This next one, this is the defense as a whole with their tackling and the run D. The run D was just atrocious, but that was all also attributed to missed tackles and this terrible form, terrible pursuit. It just blows my mind that professional athletes that get paid millions of dollars to tackle someone do things that I did and kids in my team did when we were in 7th grade, 12 years old. Like, this is all stuff you learn at the lowest level, and you're a grown-ass man. You're massive human beings, and you try to go, arm tackle. Oh, I'm going to try to grab his ankles when he's running past me. Hell no. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that crap, especially coming in the playoffs. Please don't be doing that crap. And then last but not least, this guy who I'm very high on constantly, but Damari Hamlin had a few missed tackles when usually he's great in tackling, and that's what made him in the gym for me, because his expectation for me is higher than what he performed in the field. And again, I don't anticipate him being in the gym next week, but he made it this week. And Spencer Brown singularly didn't make it this week. I didn't watch all 22 yet, but from the first glance, he didn't make it on his own. But again, he obviously is on the whole offensive line where they just with the flags and the penalties, and they did have a rough third quarter, but they came through in the end. So I gotta give them credit where credit is due. I love the big boys. They got to step up because you can't win without them. Excuse me, but thank you for tuning in to Him or Jim. Let me know your hymns in the comments and your gyms, and then we will probably be doing a weekly picks tomorrow. Again, I got to see if Nando Talk is able to do it. If not, I'm just going to do it anyway. Weekly picks will be coming in again, and then the pregame show, and then it's going to be a busy week. It's the holiday season, baby. Let's get jolly. Let's get happy. If the Bills win Saturday, they automatically win the division, and they got another 12-win season. The 1 seed is still there. We got to hope the Chiefs lose one and we beat the Bengals. And then it doesn't matter what we do in the last game of the year. But let's just win out and do our business like we have been. Let's go Buffalo. Go Bills. 11-3 feels so damn good. And I'll see you guys next time.